What's some of the do's and don'ts that you would like to recommend to people while they're out on the lakes or things like that, when it comes to the fish and wildlife?
Well, obviously, you mentioned littering before. Always keep track of what you have with you, and don't leave any trash in the lake. One of the things I've noticed, especially over the last decade or so, as we get more and more use on our lakes, the trash is worse. And I've noticed, especially on Laurel Lake, after a heavy rain, you can get a lot of trash in the lake in the upper end from Lynn Camp Creek, comes through downtown Corbin. So, and I think a lot of people don't realize just throwing out one little bottle, something here or there, but when everybody does that, it adds up and is really an eyesore. Plus, it can harm the environment. So obviously, keep your trash with you and dispose of it properly. Always keep safety in mind when you're out on the water. Have enough warm clothes on in the wintertime. Wear a life jacket. Pay attention. So things like that. Mostly common sense.
Right.
Things.
We need to respect our lakes and take care of them and maintain them. And you guys are doing a fabulous job of that in our area, maintaining these fish out here, doing your job. And we really appreciate that. People that enjoy fishing and just out in nature, this is keeping us going.
Right. And if anyone has any questions, especially about any of the fish populations or what we're trying to do with each of the populations, they can contact me directly at our district office. We've recently moved from Williamsburg, where our district office used to be, and we're in Somerset now, and that number is 606-677-4096. You can also get online through our department, which is fw.ky.gov, and we have a website that you can answer a lot of questions through the website. We have a lot of information available for anglers and hunters there.
Well, what's ways that the public and people that's watching and listening, what are ways that they can support you all and help give back to the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife?
Well, one of the main ways is to purchase a hunting or fishing license. And the Fish and Wildlife doesn't get any general fund tax dollars, so we're funded primarily through the sale of hunting and fishing licenses. So if you, and a lot of people in Kentucky do love to hunt and fish, and you're actually helping the resource and helping us manage that resource by purchasing hunting and fishing licenses.
Very good. So you can get them at most sporting goods stores, Walmart, or any places like that. So you're really helping out this department and giving back to this department. You're making things run a whole lot smoother for everybody. Right. What are some more things that you'd like to touch on with us, Mr. John?
Well, I could talk a little bit about some of the other activities we do. I mentioned about sampling the fish populations in the lakes and changing regulations and so forth. We also currently have what's called a technical guidance program for pond owners. If you have a farm pond on your property and the fishing is not very good and you want to improve the fishing, or just want to get some advice about how to manage those populations, we actually have a service. It's a free service. Where we'll come out and check out your pond. As long as it's a pond we can get a boat in, get our shocking boat or electrofishing boat into.
Right.
We can come out and stun the fish and see how good the population's doing, and then make recommendations to improve the fishing in your pond. And some of the things we look for, obviously, what we recommend in ponds are largemouth bass, bluegill, and channel catfish. And so we look at the ratios of those fish to each other and the size range of those fish. See if one's maybe overcrowded and the other's not. So we can kind of tweak the population in your pond, and also check on the water quality, see if you need to do anything different there.
Right, and educate us a little bit on this algae. Like when a pond is really covered with algae, does that poison the fish?
Excess algae can be a problem. Usually when you have a lot of excess vegetation, especially the what they call pond scum, the filamentous algae that grows on tops of the ponds during the summertime, that's usually a sign of excess nutrients coming into the pond. And most often we see that around areas that have a lot of cattle or horses, or around lawns that use heavy fertilizers. And so a lot of that gets washed in and provides nutrients for that algae to grow. So normally what we do in that situation is try to limit the input of nutrients.
Right.
And there are chemicals you can use to treat that. You can treat algae with copper sulfate. It's readily available through farm supply stores like Southern States or Tractor Supply. So there are ways to deal with algae problems in the ponds.
Very good. So that is better fishing for us, to remove this algae and to get it out there and clean our waters up a little bit. Different people has different ways of doing things, so we need to just keep up on it.
Right. Well, one of the other problems I should mention with algae, a lot of times if you have excess algae in the ponds, that can lead to oxygen problems. And so sometimes you'll end up with a fish kill, which is, especially if the algae starts dying, then as it decomposes, the oxygen gets taken out of the water by that decomposition process. And so if the oxygen levels get low enough, that will kill the fish. And so that's another reason you don't want excess nutrients in the pond, because it can lead to fish kills.